If I'm a partner leader right now, I'm listening to this conversation, I'm thinking to myself, but where do I start? You're describing all of these instances of potential value intersection before the customer even gets to my doorstep. How do I go and build a strategy that enables me to find those different touch points in the market? And do I have to, I'll ask two questions, forgive me, but so where do I find those? How do I build a strategy around it? Most importantly though, then how do I identify them? And then do I have to pursue all of them? Like what I'm thinking in my mind is that 28 different types of partners I have to pursue, 14 of them I have to go and invest heavily? How do you think about that stage of, obviously building for the future?
Yeah, a lot of the playbooks have now been kind of written and they've been proved out in the market. So I'll give an example. So you asked the question, like strategically, what do I do tomorrow? The first thing is you have to find your place in the world, which, most companies have got a reasonable idea what their TAM, their target addressable size is. Most don't know what their SAM is, which is the serviceable addressable size underneath that. And then almost no one knows what their SOM, their serviceable obtainable market is. So when you took all your partnerships and you look at all the points of sale, and it's very different. I'll talk about two different SaaS companies. One is a security SaaS company whose 78% of their industry TAM, the 82 billion, is resold. So I have to be there at the point of sale. As a channel leader, I have to go and get the resellers and the MSPs and the MSSPs. I have to figure out 7 layers of distribution. So I show up and I can swing at the ball when when it's pitched in my TAM. And I have to expand my SOM and SAM circles inside that TAM circle. And that's what my job is. But if I'm selling CRM software, it's only 10% resold. So I'm not flying over to, big distributors and big marketplaces and stuff like that. I'm not as concerned about the point of sale as I would if I was in another, subcategory of SaaS. But the second part of it, though, is once you make sure as a channel leader that you have the channels of distribution properly set up. If you are, your industry is now 30% marketplace, you better be signed up on all the big marketplaces and have a great listing and everything else. The second part of your job, though, now is that what we talked about here, which is your customer. Get obsessed over your customer. Get obsessed over their 28 moments, what they read, where they go, the people they follow. Get obsessed about who surrounds your customer, the ecosystem between you and around your customer. You just participate in that big ecosystem of moving parts. And the more you can participate in those communities, the bottoms up, what they read, where they go, listening to podcasts like this one, and participate and get visibility and maybe even get endorsements by really important, influential people in these watering holes becomes everything. And you got to build a channel program around that. And you're starting to see now a bunch of point systems and other systems that have taken money away from the point of sale and start spending it in those 28 moments, is spending it every 30 days forever, is spending it for technology, alliances, co-innovation, strategic alliances. So all this money is now spread out a little bit like peanut butter, which is showing that partnerships are so much more than just taking the customer's money.
Yeah, so it's not just about the sale anymore. You're talking about partnerships that are about building trust, value, reach in the market, opportunities for technology intersection and such. Are there ways that I then as a leader can think about those different touch points holistically? So what I'm hearing you say is like partnerships and ecosystem development is not a singularity. It's not just go work with a reseller, distributor, or some other dynamic that allows you to take money from one person and put it in your pocket. It's more about building the infrastructure, the surround sound around the customer, and certainly the point of sale, like to be argumentative here. We have to talk about that in the beginning to acquire the customer, yes, but then service the customer long tail. So how do I then, maybe how would you in this sense paint the picture of that surround sound? What's the best way to go and capture that full perspective?
Yeah, so the first, I'd run a couple of concurrent projects starting tomorrow morning. I would make sure I'm pretty locked down on my TAM, SAM, and SOM numbers. I kind of want to know where I am and make sure that I have both the coverage and capacity to go do that. And it's surprising as you get to really big companies, they haven't done the basic work to say that, if I want to sell a lot of hamburgers, if you're McDonald's, or if you want to sell a lot of cups of coffee at Starbucks, at some point you got to go and figure out where people buy that coffee. And do you have enough restaurants on every street corner to handle that demand? And so that's a basic question that most software companies can't answer. That would be the first project. The second project would be around your customer. You talk about surrounding the surround sound, the Dolby surround sound, or I'm not supposed to say brands.
You can say it. I'm okay with Dolby. Customer. Yeah. We're all hearing that sound in our heads right now.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
But the fact is you can go do this. This isn't like, you don't have to call an analyst like me. You don't have to go and, subscribe to some expensive list, company or something. Go do it. You know that 81% of your customers start with a Google search in those 28 moments. Go pretend to be them, or at least get a low-cost jurisdiction to go and kind of click through all this stuff and go build out your own list of watering holes. What do they listen to? What are the podcasts and webinars and things they subscribe to? What social groups are they in? The 100 social groups that they might be in? What are the events? There's 218 tech events that a software company might be invited to. So there are 85 magazines that they could read. There's, a bunch of associations. There's 67 associations. There's peer. So there's 14 different spheres of influence. You can go build this. And whatever watering holes around your customers and around your partners that surround your market TAM, you'll be surprised at how few things there are on there. This is a Malcolm Gladwell law of a few tipping point type of conversation. Now we're talking Paul Revere, 1776 Boston for Barrett here. The fact of the matter is that can be done. That's a project. That's your second project. Then now that you know the watering holes, now the question is this community-minded, bottoms-up approach to go find out who is the most influential. So go look at the events, who's speaking. Go look at the association, who's on the board, who's on these weekly podcasts, who's in these magazine articles, and who's on the top 100 list. You can find out and score these people. By the time I did it once and I got to 5,000 people, but the top 100 people by score were literally the movers and shakers for a $5 trillion industry. I would want to know, and up on my office wall, I would want to know those 100 people in order. I would want to know the 1,000 watering holes, or how many there are in my world, my customer's world. I'd want that up on my wall as well. And I'd want to know exactly how that worked to the decimal point against my SOM, SAM, and TAM. And that's the 3 projects I would be running tomorrow morning.
God, that was exceptional. I just like listening to you, smiling, thinking to myself, I'm going to go action that my own self here in a couple hours. It's brilliant. I am so tempted to ask you another question, but if I do, we're going to go over our time limit, and I don't want to do that. What I want to do is say thank you. I'm grateful for the time, the conversation, the data, the insight, the feedback, and the actionable takeaways that folks hopefully can really benefit from here. If people want to get in touch, follow you, I know you're on the internet. What's the best way to reach out? What's the best way to follow and learn from you as they go?
Yeah, I probably have 30 different ways that I track on multiple screens in my office, but a simple LinkedIn message, if you got a question or something like that, I respond to everything. I'm one of those people that go to bed without any red circles on my phone. So I kind of clear the internet cover to cover each night.
I love that. I admire that and appreciate that. I can attest to it. Jay did not know me before this conversation. I reached out and he is incredibly generous with his time. So thank you again. This has been exceptional. We appreciate you. Everyone listening, this is Outcomes. Again, as always, like, subscribe, comment, and thank you for following. Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure again, my friend. Thanks so much.
Thank you.